Welcome to my view of the stock market. Today is Tuesday, November 25. You're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq. Just going to give a brief stock market update this afternoon. You can see on the Nasdaq, the volume is really waning here the last couple of sessions since the Thursday. I don't know what you'd call it, like a little tantrum that the market had. Remember the jobs number came out and the market just took a dive. Because the interest rates, it's always about the interest rates, right? Because if we have lower interest rates, then the multiples will become much higher. We'll have richer multiples and the stock prices will appreciate. But after that, report last week, it was consternation if we're going to have a rate cut or not next month. And the market wants a rate cut. I want a rate cut. Everybody wants a rate cut, but it was kind of in doubt. Then yesterday, Fed Chair Waller, he's got a vote. He said that, we need a rate cut in December, so the market liked that. Then today, I guess it was a report that Trump has selected Kevin Hassett as a replacement for Jerome Powell, and the market liked that as well. You could see the Nasdaq sold off and turned around fairly early in the morning here and just kind of had buyers all day. But like I said, the volume is totally anemic these days. Tomorrow is the last day before Thanksgiving, and then Friday is a half a day. If you're looking at where the index ended up, it did trade above the 50. You can see there if I zoom in there, it's a 0.5% above the 50 and 0.6% above the 21. So they closed above those key moving averages, and I have it on the 5, and you can see the 5 starting to do a U-turn and head back north. Now today would have been a follow-through day on the Dow and the S&P and the Russell, but today's only day three. So we have to wait to ensure that we're not buying into short covering, and we need volume above the prior day's volume, which shouldn't be too hard tomorrow. So starting tomorrow, I'm looking for a follow-through day. And just because, we haven't had a follow-through day yet doesn't mean, you can't go out and buy some stocks. It's just we really want to step on the gas once we get, back in an uptrend, a confirmed rally here, and we have not done that yet. It looks to me though like the Nasdaq is just, this pullback to form this like a bull wedge pattern, this little downtrend line, trying to break above it. I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind a 2% move tomorrow. That just looks like a little wedge pattern after, a pullback after a 62% move. We had that 9% pullback, and so, I don't want to be too bullish or too bearish. I think the market's going higher into year end, but you can also say that 24,019, hey, maybe that's it for the year. Maybe that's the high. You never know. I don't think so, but you have to be flexible and open-minded and respect the selling. So it was below the 50, now it's above the 21, and things look a lot better. I'd love to see a follow-through day starting tomorrow. I mentioned some of the other indexes here, so I might as well just show them to you. I'm not a real big S&P fan, but this one closed. It was up nearly 1%. Oh, it was up more than 1%. Okay, that's fine. It still closed 0.8% above the 21, 0.7% above the 50, and then Dow Jones Industrial Average, nice day today, up 1.43%. But you can see it's only day three because we had that hiccup on Thursday, the tantrum due to the jobs report. And the Russell, I'll just go to the IWM because it gives me volume. Today's volume was higher than yesterday, so that really would have been a follow-through day. It was day four, but like I say, Thursday was the hiccup day. So Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and this one looks like, if you're trading a stock, you'd say, hey, that's breaking above a downtrend line. I kind of kind of like that, buying that right above this little little base here. So yeah, Russell looks good, up 2.16%. Anyway, I've got to get to some stocks on my ready list. I have Apple, broke above that 277.32, then pulled back. No great shakes either way. You got to look at the weekly chart here on Apple. It's just pushing away from the base. Had that 3 weeks, or excuse me, 4 weeks tight period there, and this is the fifth week, so it probably will just have another flat base and not really break out, I don't think, until probably next week. Anyway, Other names, of course, Google has been in the news. My goodness. Yeah. So this is a pretty crowded trade here. And for good reason. Google's, got a lot of things going, a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of revenue streams, and it's made some new announcements, new products, and new partnerships allegedly. So anyway, it was up 1.5% today, and I'd say Google and Apple are two of the stronger Mag 7 names at this point. Microsoft certainly is not. It's down by its 200. Meta had a decent day today and is kind of, shaking these sellers off here in the last 3 days. Has, started a new uptrend now, closed above its 21. Amazon, these look like little hockey sticks, right? Whoop. Yeah. They fall off sharply, undercut the 50, now rallied back up. So you have to like that. And then Tesla is another one that's still below its 50s. I can't get excited about Tesla. You can see the short-term moving averages traded below the 50, and now it's, butting its head up against the 21. So it's got work to do. It's got to get through the 21. It's got to get through the 50. And yeah, it's still kind of consolidating in that big base. And of course, NVIDIA, the big behemoth of the AI trade. We're seeing a rotation out of the AI stocks and into other names, a lot of other names like steel and the leisure stocks and retail, and of course, drugs and healthcare, airlines we saw, but they're coming out of the AI stocks for sure. And Nvidia down 2.5% today, even though, I should show that it did recover, during the session. Same with AMD, below the 50. Both of these sold off at the open. Got some buyers all day long. Not bad for AMD, but still pretty rough day, down 4%. Broadcom was kind of the winner of this group because they're a partner with Google. Still couldn't get back above that 386.49. I was watching for that today. 386.48, I'd call it. 386.50, but it, couldn't do it, right? 380, wait a minute. 388.13, so it did get above it. Was that at the very open? I'm wondering because it did, it had a little spike here at the open. Nope, it was at the close. How about that? Good for Broadcom. Yeah, it's below the 386. I want to see it go through that 386.48 with power because I think that's a decent little base there that it's been about 6 weeks since the 4 or 5 weeks maybe. What's the date today? The 25th. Yeah, it's still within this box, so it's got to break out of the box. Anyway, that's it for that group. I don't want to go over, these things. I go over them every day. Same with, this one here, Lumentum. This is the top groups, top stocks in the top group. Had a big day on Monday, just had an inside day today, which is healthy, right? You see that bounce, you talk about the basketballs underwater. These things are bouncing. 81% above average volume on Monday, and this is a holiday week, 17% move and then backed off today, 2% on still above average volume. I want to just point out that when the indexes pull back, when stocks pull back, it's good information to have. When where do they find support? This is CNM. Had a big run here from what, 84 up to 214, and this gives them back, right? Which is natural and normal. But it pulled back to the 50 and found support. Now it's bounced the last 3 days. Even that big bar on that Thursday tantrum trade when it was down 6.5%, it was still above the 50. Friday pulled back to the 50 and bounced. Let me see if I can see that on a five. Maybe I'll go to a 10-minute chart. Yeah, there's your bounce. Boop. Friday, Monday, Tuesday. It looks good for Sienna. After that, kind of a washout trade, big volume yesterday. And that's what you want to see with your stocks is they could find support at the, the 5, the 21, the 50. You certainly don't want to see them go below the 50, like we've seen with some of these former winners here, like ALAB. It slices the 50, then it tries to rally back up. What happens? It gets rejected at the, moving average and then just starts trading lower, tries to rally up to the 21, gets rejected. So you kind of want to stay away from This stuff, Cloudflare too, sliced its 50, just a vertical violation. Now it can't rally back up. So, like I said, some of these AI stocks, you got to be careful here because they're rotating into other names. Speaking of which, oh well, you know what? I'm going to skip it because I always go through okay, I'll go back. I have them written down. It's the same principle, though, slicing the 50, then rallying back up and getting rejected. So, yeah, I'm not going to go through all this. I'm going to get to the drug names. These are the ones that have been winning for a while now. This rotation has been going on the month of November here. You could see Eli Lilly has got this long consolidation period, really just only broke out like 2 weeks ago. Right here is your breakout above, I think it was like 970 or something. Broke out. And then last week had a nice strong week and then follows through again this week, which it's up 4.5, almost 5% this week. It was up nearly 3.5 last week after an 11% move. Wow. So this one's at 1,110. Okay. All right. Good for Eli Lilly. All right. And just a bunch of names here that I'm not going to go through all of them. This is PTC Therapeutics that's going into the small cap 600 on Friday. So there's going to be some buying here, obviously big volume today because SanDisk is coming out. So when it comes out of an index, you got to sell it, because it's a big behemoth, 32 billion market cap, in a small cap index. So it's going into the S&P. I don't know if there will be as much buying pressure as going into the bigger index than coming out. It's a big fish in a smaller index. So yeah, it's getting the boot. So the selling is kind of mechanical. I'd like to see it, close above the 21. I don't know if it did that today. Um, yeah, 1.1% above the 21, but it had a big move on Monday. I think it looks fine. Yeah, 10% for the week. Just an inside week. That's a big nasty bar last week. So SanDisk and part of its cohorts, the mothership was trading up today, bouncing off the 50. And this is what I'm talking about when your stock pulls back, when the index pulls back and all the stocks pull back, where do they find support? Western Digital found it on Friday at the 50s, and that's what you want to see. STX, these things usually trade together, but SanDisk didn't because it's coming out of the index. I don't know if that makes sense or not. There's another stock found support at the 50, and that's what you want to see. These things usually trade together. Same thing. They found support at the 50. Anyway, all right. Another group, CLS, Contracting Manufacturing Group, pull back to the 50, found support and bounce. That's what you want to see out of these names. Sanmina is another one. Didn't even pull back to the 50. Very strong name. TTMI is another one in this group. Pull back to the 50. Very nice. You know what I saw on the as JBL? I didn't look it up. Nah, below the 50. You don't want to see that. All right. That's why I didn't have it written down. All right. The money is definitely flowing into the retail names. It's kind of hard to imagine, right? The retail names have been beaten down. The retail sales data was not very good, but these reports are getting rewarded. Best Buy had a nice move today. Kohl's was just off the chain here because they have this Kohl's Cash, right? Where if you go there and you spend, they give you cash. And I had a friend who used to give his kids the Kohl's Cash. They love going to the store and buying like their back to school clothes and stuff at Kohl's. A nice little trick for Kohl's to get more foot traffic in the store from the younger folks. But anyway, up 42% today, not bad. Abercrombie and Fitch. This one had been left for dead. Nice pop above all moving averages. I mean, this is something that you don't want to ignore here. Move, off the lows above all the moving average with massive volume. That looks fantastic to me. And I bet you it's going to go higher. I didn't buy it, but I bet you it goes higher. Macy's, the department stores here with Kohl's and a couple other names. This one was up 9% today. And then we saw last week Gap stores made a big move. And then the other one was at Ross stores, is what it was. Yeah, Ross, a big move and just following through. So the retail names just killing it. Ralph Lauren, the king of clothing. Ralph Lauren breaking out from that 341.90 area. I did have this one written down this week. I didn't put it on the ready list, but that one looks good as well. Who else do we? Oh, City Trends. I've never seen one of these stores, or I've never been in one of these stores. How about that? A nice breakout though. Last week it looks like, man, this thing just 3 weeks ago broke out. It's been ripping higher. City Trends, very strong name. The toy company, guess we're getting ready for Christmas. Hasbro. This chart looks pretty darn good here too at 82.19 or 80.04 was the trigger actually right here. But yeah, close at 81.57. The toy company looks good, even though cocoa water, right? People got to have cocoa water for their health. Going to the gym, they mix it with their regular water, the protein powder, whatever. Anyway, cocoa water. Yeah, I know you mix it in drinks too, mixed drinks, cocktail hour also. But anyway, cocoa water doing fantastic, very hydrating. Five Below, another one. Man, I was going through these 168, 98, just call it 169 right there. That would be my trigger, but that one looks pretty good here. Just forming that little base. AEO, they report next week. That's the one where Sydney Sweeney got involved with. And they did a good job marketing her, where Crocs hired Sydney Sweeney like a year before and did nothing with her. Their marketing campaign was just not, how shall I say, not appealing to the consumer. And American Eagle, hit it with their jeans ad. So they're going to report next week. I bet it's going to be pretty good. This thing's breaking out of a base. A couple others, Sonos, it's that sound system, consumer electronic products group. But yeah, they have sounds. Oh man, look at this breaking out of a base here. Sono, that's a buy right there. Yeah, volume, power through the pivot. The only problem is it's coming off the lows, right? Undercut the 50 on Thursday and then Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Look at this thing go. Um, Man, I got to look more into this. Whether they reported earnings or not, because it's not due till February 11th. So they must have just recently reported. Anyway, the stock was appealing to me. That's why I wrote it down. And also the Real Real. This is an online, like I guess fashion, kind of like a higher end fashion, yeah, luxury goods, consigned luxury goods, pulled back to its 21, found support. So that's good information to know. Finding support at its moving averages. That's what you want to see. All right. I think I made my point there that the retail is definitely getting some love now, and they're pulling money out of it's just rotating, right? Rotating out of some AI stocks into retail. And also, we know that it's going into the medical product stocks. This one's just been on a roll up 5% today. Another one, Alpha Tech Holdings. That one looks fantastic. GMED. I like the breakout here. 91.50 after hours. You can see this on the weekly chart. I did put this one on the ready list, I believe. That one looks good. TMDX is another one that I like. They've had some insider buying recently. Look at that right there at the 145.50 area. I think that's actionable as well. HAE. I did put this one on my ready list this week. I better be doing okay. Yeah, up to in 2 and 3%. But you can see this is a stage one base here, and it might just be getting going here. Who else do I have? I don't know what this one does. I gotta be honest. VCYT, oh man, it breaks out. Ooh, no wonder why I wrote that down. 46.44 is your trigger, and it moved with the volume. You got to consider that the volume on the indexes today were low, and so stocks moving out with higher volume. That's even more impressive here. You can see the RS line heading north. And let's take a look at this one. Yeah, just breaking out of that stage one base. Thank you very much. This medical services group is now up to top 10 group. Verisight, San Francisco company, huh? And then I think I put no, GEHC. I was going to, but I didn't. I don't think I did. That's right. Because I had those other ones and I didn't have too many medical stocks. But this one's still actionable, I believe, up 4.5% this week. That's GE Healthcare spinoff from General Electric. All right. What else do I have? Oh, another rotation into the steel group. I mentioned steel. This one looks good here. Why? Well, because it had this cup-shaped pattern, a nice consolidation period, and then it made a new high and then shook some fools out and got support at its moving average here at the 50 and now at the 21, and it just keeps making higher lows here. and higher highs, a series of them. So that one looks pretty good. So does Steel Dynamics, same, well, it's a little more, a little different here pattern because it made that high and it pulled back. Yeah, just like a new core back to its 21 found support. Now it's making a series of higher lows and it finds support as that moving average climbs higher. Now the last couple of sessions, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, that one looks pretty good as well. How did that one do today? Yeah, sold off into the close. But still nice 3 days and breakout above that 164.73 looks good to me. I might put that one on the ready list. And then if Cleveland Cliffs, not as strong as these other two, just trying to poke above the 50 there. So out of those three steel names, I like Steel Dynamics and Nucor. Steel Dynamics a little better because it didn't trade down to the 50, it traded down to the 21. All right. Also, I mentioned at the top about, Powell's replacement being Hassett. And interest rates are a big deal, folks. They're a real big deal. I mean, the market really, we need lower interest rates. And so, the thought process was that we were going to get them, and these things were just like yippee-ki-yay, right? And then there was some consternation about, well, maybe there's too much inflation, or who knows? But there was some indecision, and now I think the market believes that we're going to get more interest rate cuts. And so the housing, this is a big tell. These housing stocks. This is Toll Brothers. I don't think they're ready yet, but definitely something that I watch. This is nice downtrend line here. Yeah, see if it can break above there. Definitely, below the 200, now trying to rally back through the 50. They have work to do. I'm not saying go out and buy these tomorrow, but I'm watching these. And yeah, this one even looks better to me. Which one is this? Lennar. Yeah, nice move today. Heck, yeah. Still, yeah, got work to do, but it's above its moving average. I like this one a lot better. You see the relative strength line heading due north, so I like that as well. Pulte Homes, yeah, another one starting to show some strength here, signs of life. So yeah, not ready, but yeah, definitely watch those. And it's really rate sensitive, and of course, this market is headline sensitive as well. Other areas that are showing strength are the leisure services group. Um, This is the cruise ships. I don't know if they have many ocean trips, but they do go on those river excursions through, Europe. And Viking Holdings, just a powerful move today through its trigger point there at 65.37. This is another one that I had on my ready list that I didn't put on because I had too many names. But yeah, this one you could see was set up in a base, had a nice bounce. Even when the market, had that tantrum on Thursday, this one did not. And then on Friday, it moved higher. Yesterday, pulled back to its five. Today, popped six something percent through the trigger point with decent volume. You could see the blue dot indicating relative strength. You could see that RS line heading straight north too. So I like Viking. And then some of the leisure lodging places, MAR, Marriott. Yeah, that one broke out here. This consolidation pullback, long consolidation here. I'm trying to go too fast here. Just a long period of consolidation. Then it gets back up to that trigger, fakes people out, right? The longs are going, yippee-ki-yay, we're going to the moon, right? Then what happens? Nope. Well, the indexes were pulling back as well. So this one found support, and now it's been bouncing the last three sessions, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, and making new highs. And the other one was Hilton. Another one, yeah, that just starting to break through that trigger point there. I just call it 280 there. And now it's a close today at 284.73. Yeah, that's a nice breakout of that box there. Flat base pattern. Nah, I gotta admit I missed that one for sure. Anyway, that one looks good. Also not just the hotels, but and not just the, cruise lines or the river cruises, which the boomers are taking. The gambling sites are, looking a lot better, consolidating in this base, undercut the 50, rallied back through. Wynn Resorts looks good. Always reminds me of Las Vegas Sands. Yeah, Las Vegas is doing a little better. Broke out, pulled back, and now breaking out again. 67.83 is your trigger there. And the airlines actually started perking up. Flying has become so difficult, but this one has traded above its moving average, still consolidating within a base. Not bad. That's United, and then Delta looks a lot better here, and then American, right? United, yeah, American. These ones are looking a lot better. All right, so rotation out of some of those big AI names and into you know, just a lot of leisure, steel, the medical, the drugs, just a lot of different areas, medical product stock, and we can still rely on Old Faithful. The gold stock still looking pretty good. That's Harmony, up more than 2% today. Anglo up a 0.5%. I think gold was just flat on the session. Ego, love the ticker symbol. It's got a big ego, up by 1% today. So gold is still hanging in there in one of the top groups this year. And I got to mention, since we're talking about top groups, I went through the fiber optic group and the electrical contracting manufacturing group. And man, I did the data storage group, but the energy group, we need energy more than anything. This kind of befuddles me a little bit. I don't expect it to be, just ripping higher. Of course, it went from, what did it go from, 30 to 150? So it's been a five bagger. So it's going to give some back, but the vertical violation here of the 50, probably, probably going to consolidate maybe for a little bit, but I would like to see this thing rally back above 100 and above this moving average. This is a very strong stock with great fundamentals, but that slice below the 50 might need some time. GEV just consolidating forever and a day. You got to be really patient to hold that one. Constellation, in other words, these alternative energy names. CEG is a ticker symbol. Yeah, just kind of consolidating here. LEU. I have a friend who owns this one. I don't know how you can hang on to that. I guess, if you got it at 49.40, great. $50, yeah, you can hold it. Still, you're losing a ton of profits here from 464 down to 248. No, thank you. I can't do that. I'm not wired that way. I just cannot stand to lose money. I would rather sit out and watch the thing rip higher than sit through that. I just can't do it. It drives me crazy. Maybe I just work too hard for my money all my life. But anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Except in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have one more thing, and that's after the bell tonight, we had earnings, and NTAP I know was up a little bit, 4% now. They came, let me see, they reported earnings, they reported sales above. They guided just in line. They affirmed prior guidance. They didn't raise guidance. So, but still, the stock was up 4%. We'll see if that can hold tomorrow. Zscaler, I think they had like 28% sales growth, which is, pretty good. 23, 21, now 28. But the stock was down 6%. So I don't know what they said about guidance. Yeah, I didn't hear anything on the call. I didn't hear anything about it. Dell, up 1%. This thing's been in a free fall down by its 200. I did not hear anything about the report from Dell or Workday. Yeah, software's been a tough game here, down 3.5%. Autodesk, another software, it's up 5% after hours, so good. I want to see these companies do well. NTNX, this one usually moves a lot, and it is down 14%. Ugh, man, the software. Enterprise software has been really tough. AMBA reported tonight up 1%. This is a semiconductor fabulous name. And then Urban, another clothing retail name, ripping 12% after a big move today. So who knows? Maybe they can continue trading higher. I just look at Nike. And I look at Lululemon, and I look at Starbucks, some of these old stodgy, companies that are just in a free fall here and just can't get out of their own way. But yeah, anyway, that's it for me. Oh, wait a minute. Tomorrow morning, we're going to hear from John Deere. That's pretty much it for earnings this week. Earnings season winding down. Got to go back to the Nasdaq because, they're making a big deal about it. It's the first down month unless we gain 600 and 700 points tomorrow and Friday. So we're going to have a down month in November, which is fine. It's down almost 3%. Anyway, after a 7 month run, that'll set us up for a nice December and Christmas run. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We're looking for a follow through day as soon as tomorrow, and we never give up.